Hey everyone! One of my viewers requested I do a video on how I care for my Encyclia orchids. I'll talk a little bit about the general care for them and what they prefer, and then I'll talk about the care that I give to them in relation to my environment. So first let's talk about the Encyclias and their general care. Now, the Encyclia genus consists of over 240 diverse species and many other hybrids. Most of them are epiphytes and some are lithophytes. Encyclias are relatives of the Cattleya lions, so care for them can be similar to many Cattleyas. They like bright, indirect light, similar to Cattleyas or even more. Direct light is actually beneficial for them for a short period of time as long as they're allowed to adapt slowly. Now, in terms of temperature, most prefer high 60s to mid 70 degrees with a temperature drop at night. A 10 to 15 degree drop is sufficient. They like humidity of around 50% to 80%. Encyclias like to be dry out in between watering, so a coarse bark medium would do well for them. Many would appreciate a drier winter rest, where they are watered less than other seasons, but don't cut off water entirely. Now let's talk about how I grow my Encyclia orchids. My Encyclia are species. One of them is the Encyclia septra, and the other is the Cordillera. I care for them the same way I care for my Cattleyas. During winter, the temperature where I live can be as low as 45 degrees in the day and about 32 degrees at night. In the summer, temperatures can go up to about 115 degrees in the day and drops to about 80 degrees at night, so it's very, very hot. Changes in temperatures can actually be up to 40 degrees difference between day and night, and that's really just where I live. So for other people, it might be a little bit different. In the winter, I actually keep all my orchids indoors, and they do fine at about 60 degrees, although they tend to grow extremely slow, and some of them just kind of stop growing. Now that it's spring, my orchids stay outdoors, but they still experience dramatic changes in temperatures from day to night, and they are still doing okay with that. They don't seem to have that much trouble, even when the temperature drop is very dramatic. I water them once a week on cooler days and then twice a week on warmer days, and I just take a hose and spray them. They do just fine, and I actually do that pretty early in the day. I fertilize about once a week or once every other week, depending on if I have time or not. I give them direct morning light and then dappled afternoon and evening light, and they are actually showing signs of new growth. So once a month, I actually spray them with Phison 20 that I got from Amazon for pretty cheap, and it's just a precaution against bacterial and fungal infections. So far, I don't have a lot of those. That's pretty much all in terms of general care for Encyclias and also my personal care regimen. And my personal care regimen is really based on my experience with my orchids and also where I'm growing them. As I mentioned before, care really depends on first the type of Encyclia that you have and also two, the environments that they're grown in. Not all the same, and they can't really be treated all the same. So really just make sure that you do read up on how they do in your area and what they would prefer, and then adjust the regimen according to where you live and what you're doing to grow them. So happy growing, everyone!